world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing another end of the month list. So, once again, it's September 30th as I'm filming. Well, as you're watching this, it's September 30th, but by the time I'm filming this, it is September 26th. So, because I wanted to get some extra time going. But today we're filming the ranking for all 11 non-new release films that I saw in the month of September of 2021. So, let's get started. So for me, I watched this movie in honor of the Addams Family 2021 2 film, and I gotta say, this is kind of a very disappointing film because the way the story was, I just did not like the way the story was organized. It tried to focus on so much, and it just kind of failed at it. Though some performances were pretty good, and there were some pretty funny moments, and there were some pretty clever stuff, the specific execution of the story was just so weird, and I just kind of didn't like it. So for me, it comes in last place. Now this one is a little bit better than the original film. Obviously, it's not a top tier film, but it's still a more enjoyable film. But at the same time, the story, once again, the story is just kind of so... There's just too much going on for me to process all of it. Though, adding Joan Cusack into the mix was also fun. Fester was, of course, very adorable, as this is kind of his film. And the stuff that they did with the kids, Wednesday and Pugsley, I thought was pretty good. It was pretty funny as they were watching Disney films. It also has a pretty good score and some pretty cool action sequences. So, it did a couple of stuff better than the original film, but I don't think it was actually very better. So, that's kind of my thoughts on this film. Now, this is a movie that I was so... I really did like this movie. I mean, I'm not saying Pocahontas is top tier Disney film, as this is the film that came out after The Lion King. It kind of makes The Lion King look bad, as we all thought that because the Renaissance is like the top tier era for Disney films, and that was like the era that most people grew up with. And it's kind of sad that most people couldn't really like this movie, and it's not really historically based on it, the real Pocahontas person. But what I loved about this film, of course, some of the animation was, of course, beautiful. Some of the songs are pretty good. Some of the characters are pretty interesting and enjoyable to be on screen. But the way the story went, it just kind of went in so many directions. I don't want to say anything because there's just a lot of ways that they do the story. And I don't really feel like when they have the sequel, I don't feel like it's worth watching. But I will watch it one day. But overall, this is a film that has some likable stuff about it. But then it just does so much. And it doesn't really make it complex. And it doesn't really do anything interesting besides just a couple of cool animation, cool songs, and some fun characters. But that's really it. Now this was kind of a slightly better little Renaissance film that I watched. Honestly, for the films that I watched, I don't think any of them really succeeded for the Renaissance. This film just easily kind of was not that good. I guess there are some interesting things, especially with John Candy as the bird. There are at least some funny characters added, but everything else just seems kind of familiar and just a little bit funner than the original film, but the same story, kind of a kid getting captured. But that's really all I gotta say. It's just a fine little sequel to a film that's kind of forgettable. Now this film, I was so surprised with, because the way that this movie did, because I was not the biggest fan of My Little Pony at first, but this movie actually kind of made me like My Little Pony a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it's like a top tier film of the year or anything, but of the non-new release films that I've seen this year, but it's definitely good. It's definitely worth watching. Now, the story can be a little bit weird at times, but what I really liked about the film is the way the characters were going. The little voice casts that you get within was Zoe Saldana. Who else? Christian Chenworth, and some other people that I don't really remember. Oh, and the guy that played Sabretooth in the X-Men movies, and Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse. So, the cast is pretty good. There's also some songs that I really liked, and the score in here is absolutely fantastic. And there are some pretty shocking moments with the characters. And so, I thought it brought some likable characters, some great music. Not really the best story. The story just seems more childish. But I kind of, there's things in this movie that I did like from it. So, I did enjoy this film. Now, Addams Family, as I saw this past weekend, I actually enjoyed this movie, and I actually think this is my favorite of all the Addams Family films, where the story was a little bit better to understand, and as an animated film, it can find ways to actually be clever, as they're this creepy family, and they can do clever stuff, and it's cool the way they're doing it. As there's all these little funny jokes. If you want to go hear about the jokes that they did, it's in my review. Also, you kind of get some. It also gives time for certain characters to have character arcs, especially with Wednesday, which I thought she was hilarious, even though her design was not great. There was also some pretty cool action sequences. The music in here from the original song was pretty good. The voice cast with Oscar Isaac, Charlize Theron. The girl that was in Tom and Jerry, just the voice cast was amazing. However, some of the story beats didn't really work still, and I think the character designs are a bit off for me. But still, I enjoyed this film, and it's definitely my favorite of all the Addams Family films. Alright, Labor Day. This was my pick for my film for Labor Day 2021, obviously because of the title of the movie. And I just wiped up a cookie crumb, because I just ate cookies right now. So I liked this movie. I thought that the relationship with Josh Brolin, as he's playing a different role than he actually ever had, other than Thanos. I mean, this isn't a new film. This is before he ever played Thanos, and he was like a household name everyone knew about. And before he played Cable in Deadpool 2. But I liked the relationship, the way he did it and everything, and the way he had to hide himself. And it was kind of cool. There was this girl in the movie that was trying to get the mom and dad separated, and it just didn't really feel that right. And it does have some pretty cool acting, and I thought it was just a lighthearted, pretty enjoyable film. So I liked it. Now, God's Not Dead, honestly, the idea of it is actually pretty interesting. But I'm gonna be honest with you, this movie has like a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is like intriguing, which is like so shocking, because there's things in this movie that I think are actually pretty good. So they take the guy that played Spencer in Good Luck Charlie, which is a very good Disney Channel TV show, and they kind of make this story of this teacher that is trying to make everyone believe that God is dead, but he can't do that because he's a Christian, and Christians believe in God. They respect God. They worship him. And then you also, beyond that, you also just kind of explore the lives of these different people, of how they would kind of interpret these types of situations. And I thought that was a cool thing to explore in the film. Likewise, I thought some of the music was pretty good. The ending can be a little bit off, but I still enjoyed it, and I thought it was a good little experiment, to do for this type of premise. Now, The Conjuring 2, I definitely did like. I thought that it was an enjoyable movie. It, definitely, I don't think it was better than the original film, but I thought that they told a different story that I enjoyed, and, it had characters that you kind of cared about, especially that scene where the daughter tells the mom that she wasn't actually smoking, and that she just hold up the cigarette just to make her friend look cool. And, it's a good little scene there, but it just kind of continues what the original film did, and basically just continued the horror aspect, which I liked, but it's like, I don't think they did. I wanted them to do something new. So I liked it, but I did enjoy it. But I don't think it's better than the original Conjuring, but I still did like it. Okay, so this is actually one of the more recent, this is the last film that I actually saw in September. Now, if you're watching this, and you go on my Letterboxd page to see my diary of what films I watched, and you probably see, like, Arrival, or, what's the name of the other movie I'm watching this weekend? Jack Ryan Recruit, something like that. They're not September releases. They're just movies that I'm watching because we have an extra week of September, so it's not my fault. But Star Wars Empire Strikes Back is the official film that is the end of the films that I'm watching in September of non-new release films. And this is definitely a very good film. Is it my favorite? Is it better than Star Wars A New Hope? I don't think so. But what I liked about the film is it kind of introduces some new world where you kind of get these new types of animals in this snowy place. Darth Vader also gets some great moments. They also introduce some new characters with Boba Fett, some other characters. Yoda, played by Frank Oz. As you can, if you watch Sesame Street back in the day, you can hear the mixture of Cookie Monster and Grover and Bert's voice, because Frank Oz played all those characters at one point, and it's fantastic. And Yoda is a great character in this film, as he does that backwards speech. And of course, the reveal that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. I gotta say, as I've known about that for years now, it doesn't seem that surprising anymore because I've already known about it. So it seems a little bit disappointing for that, but other than that, this is a good movie. I don't think it's top tier, though. Now, Inception, possibly the best film of this month. Definitely. And this is definitely my favorite Christopher Nolan film. Better than The Dark Knight, better than Batman Begins. This film is definitely epic. If you look at all the other films that Christopher Nolan has done, I feel like each of them, they explore a very interesting idea. With Memento, they explore a story of someone losing their memory, and you tell the story backwards, and that's awesome to me. And then Insomnia basically tells a detective story with Al Pacino. Batman Begins obviously is an origin story of Batman, and in Christopher Nolan's vision, and he does it fantastically. The Dark Knight is obviously a film that is a sequel to Batman Begins. Batman's portrayal on the city of Gotham and Joker. And then Inception is basically where you take dreams, where Leonardo DiCaprio goes into people's dreams and steals their secrets. And to me, that's a very cool idea with very cool special effects, a great cast, a great character arc for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and just some cool stuff. Though I feel like some of the ideas here I don't think worked very nicely, and the way some of the action sequences were I don't think we really will. Especially, I did like the snow sequence where it was kind of like James Bond, where if you watch videos of it, he took inspiration from the James Bond films, and it's very much like that, and I like that. So overall, it's definitely my favorite Christopher Nolan film, and I think it does the idea the best, and it does it very well. So that's my ranking of all 11 non-new release September 2021 movies. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram is Marvel6 and my TikTok name is MarvelFan. If you guys don't understand those names, head to my back section so you can follow me on all social medias. I'm also in Letterboxd. It's the same name as Instagram, Marvel_6_, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.